Hey guys, what's going on? Hey, this is Freedom Johnson, and to the real estate investors, I want to give you guys a quick tip. And as you guys can see, I'm at one of our houses right now, and let me walk through this process and tell you why I am about to do this, and then I'll tell you what this is as well. So, whenever you are going through the buying and flip process, and you flip the house, and now the house is ready to be sold retail, then what you have is a buyer who has a bank loan, and in order for them to get that loan, they have to go through two things. One, an inspection, and then number two, an appraisal. Now, the appraisal really affects the cost of what they can buy the house for, right? So I want to give you an example. You know, if you have a house, maybe it's worth 100 grand, but you've got it listed for 200,000, and the appraisal comes by, inspects the house and says, well, according to the houses in the neighborhood, I believe this house is worth $100,000. Then the buyer is going to call you back and say, hey, I cannot buy this house. Sorry about that, guys. Then the buyer is going to come back and tell you guys that I cannot buy this house at $200,000. According to this appraisal, I need to buy it at $100,000. Well, that's a $100,000 loss that you just lost right there. So how do you influence the appraiser's price? Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about the appraiser. The appraiser comes through. He looks at recently sold properties in that area. The truth is, sometimes they don't always look at the subdivision. Sometimes they may even look at like 2 miles down the street, 5 miles down the street. And a lot of times the appraised price of your property comes back at a crazy amount that totally eats up your profit. So the question is, how do you influence the appraiser's price? All right. So that's what we're here to talk about today. So I'm going to show you, this is just a little bit of the house, one of the houses we're flipping. And we have this house on the MLS priced at $160,000. Well, we had a person who really wanted this house, and they offered us $165,000. So I want the extra 5 grand, right? So I want to influence the appraiser's price. So let me show you guys. These are just some quick tips that I'm doing right now. When the appraiser comes in, he's going to see all this paperwork, and I want him to. So I'm putting this paperwork everywhere. But let me tell you what this paperwork is. This right here are comps. Okay, comps are comparable houses in the neighborhood, and I have their sold and listed prices right there. And what I did is I found the highest priced homes in this area, and I only want him to see these. I don't want him to see the ones that went for 100 grand and 100 grand and 120 grand. I want him to see the ones that are listed and sold for 169,000, 167,000, 165,333 dollars. Those are the houses that I want him to see. So I went to the MLS and I found those 3 houses and I printed them out. So I'm going to put them right here for him to see. I also have a summary of those prices as well. I'm going to put that right here. How else do we influence the house? This one is a very important piece, guys. This is a letter that was personally written from the agent's perspective to the buyer. So, give you a little rundown about what this says. Dear buyer, I'm glad we've gotten to speak with you. I know how difficult this home buying process journey has been for you guys. Guys, I'm so sorry. My phone is ringing off the hook right now. But let's get back to this letter. So this letter right here says, Dear buyer, I'm glad I've gotten to speak with you. I know how difficult this home buying process journey has been for you guys. We spoke about how you have continuously been looking for homes and have not found the right home or could not close for some reason. The truth is, I'm honored to be a part of this journey and sell you my home. I know how difficult buying a house is and how long it takes, but I believe everything happens for a reason. Choosing you to buy my home was an emotional process. Some more stuff. I hope this home you can grow your family and enjoy the holidays as much as I have and make more memories in this house. This letter right here, guys, is an emotional letter. I'm specifically placing this paper here, and I'm placing it in other areas of the home so that the appraiser can see this and he will see, man, I really should give a good appraisal price so that this person can close this house. Because if I don't, then they can't get the house. So all this paperwork right here I am placing everywhere for the guy to see, because I want to influence his price. So I'm specifically strategically placing the paperwork everywhere for him to see. Because if the appraiser comes back for any reason and he tells this price that my house that somebody wants to buy for $165,000, if he tells him this house, if he comes back with an appraisal and says this house is worth $2, or realistically maybe $100,000, then the buyer will not buy this house. They're going to tell me, hey, we only want to buy this house for $100,000. Well, if they buy it for $100,000, that eats up my profit. There's no money here, right? So we want to place these everywhere so that he can see this and we can influence his price. Again, I made 3 copies of that same letter. We are placing them everywhere. We want him to see that. So, sorry about that, guys. I'm a little sick today. So I just wanted you guys to see that. It's a pretty beautiful house. Really glad with what we did. Really proud of the work that we got done here. We want him to see these comps. We want him to see that letter. We want to pull on his emotional strings so that he sees how emotional it is for the buyer. So he comes back with an appraisal that makes us happy, which means we can get profit, but it also helps the buyer close on this house. This is Freedom Johnson signing off, guys. I hope that was helpful. You guys have a blessed day. Peace.